man's heart is full of hate. He butters, cries, and a dark shadow falls over this troll. From the ashes of a once great fandom has risen a meme, an LOL that must be liked. We look to the airwaves for a vindicator, someone to strike fear in the dark basement of the parents who created him. The battle between fan and smart has begun. With a head on his shoulders stands the smart fan, a speaker of truth with a voice of silence and a radio show of justice. This is Ring Rust.
So we got three shows to preview. Let's run down first off what I'm going to be previewing. I'm going to be previewing WWE Live at Madison Square Garden on the WWE Network, and it's being broadcast from, I'll give you three guesses. Yep, Madison Square Garden. I'll talk more about the history of it and whatnot as I'm going. I'm also going to be previewing TNA Bound for Glory live on pay-per-view, and I'm also going to be previewing NXT TakeOver Respect. So is that a show that's earned? Is it earned or given or any lame joke? And that is from Wednesday, is it? Starting things off live from Madison Square Garden, which will be taking place October 3rd on the WWE Network. It's being hailed as part of Brock Lesnar's Go to Hell tour, and it's the company's return to Madison Square Garden for the first time since 2004 in WrestleMania 20. My third favorite WrestleMania. First is WrestleMania 5. Second, WrestleMania 14. And then third is WrestleMania 20. Mainly for how it ended, with Eddie Guerrero coming out and congratulating absolutely nobody, according to WWE history, winning the WWE World Heavyweight title. In a triple threat match, I loved the write-up, with the next WrestleMania magazine, I think that came out after June of 2007, listed the main event of WrestleMania 20, where Triple H lost the World Heavyweight title in a triple threat match which also featured Shawn Michaels. Now, if that's not writing Chris Benoit out of your history, I don't know what is. So I just love that. I picked it up, I read it, and it's like, oh my God, what is this? What is going on? Why do you hate remembering things? We're wrestling fans. We're going to forget after a while. So, most wrestling fans tend to forget. If they don't see someone on TV for 6 months, they forget who is like, oh, look, that guy. He used to be here 6 months ago. And then he hurt his insert injury here, and now anyway. So, Randy Orton will be taking on Sheamus in a singles match. So, I like giving my predictions, who I think is going to win, who I would like to win. I see that one. I see Randy Orton. Actually, I see Sheamus coming out on top of that one. Probably because, this is the third time they've wrestled on pay-per-view, and I think it's Sheamus' turn to win. It's like, okay, Sheamus, I think you're going to win this time. Are you sure? You want to flip a coin or something? No, you'll go ahead and win this one. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. And the one, according to the Wiki, I don't know how they lay out the Wikipedia thing, because it seems like they put the main event as the number one, and then from there it's the least important match, and then the next least important match, and then so I'm just going to go in the order. I'm just going to go from bottom to top. So Randy Orton versus Sheamus was on the bottom. Big Show versus Brock Lesnar, which is the whole thing. Brock Lesnar, it's named for it. The whole thing is hyped around him. I don't know why this would be anyway. What do I know? So it's just a regular match. It's a match some 10 or so years in the making. They wrestled each other on SmackDown and broke the ring, and they showed that 3 times. They showed a recap of that in quick succession in one video package. They showed it 3 or 4 times at different angles. I'm sure they showed it from different angles at the time it happened as well, but since it's heralded as part of Brock Lesnar's Go to Hell tour, then yeah, I can see Brock Lesnar winning, because it would be kind of silly if he lost on what's part of his tour. Wouldn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, what do I know?
And I quote,
check out the TMZ of professional wrestling news. And I quote on Facebook. All the latest news with some attitude, new and classic wrestling videos, and so much more.
Can I have your attention, please? I just received an email from the Raw general manager.
This is Fanboy Mark Jabroni. You're listening to Ring Rust. So next up for WWE Live from Madison Square Garden, the Tag Team Championships will be on the line. The New Day, Kofi Kingston, Big E Langston, and or Xavier Woods. I like that. I like the fact that they're actually employing, I think what they're now referring to as the New Day role. Forget the Freebirds. Who are the Freebirds? Well, one of the Freebirds is the guy who tells you what to go out in the ring and do. But other than that, the Freebirds aren't anyone you should concern yourself with. Versus the Dudley Boys. Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon Dudley. Now, since it's in New York, and ECW is in Philadelphia, which is like really close to New York, and a lot of fans find the New Day annoying, and they really want to see the, hey, look at those guys, they're back in WWE, fellas. Get a shot at the, and then it's one more tag team title, so to add to their resume, I suppose. They don't have that specific version of the WWE title. So that picture that I'll probably post on Ring Rust Redux when I put it on YouTube. The picture of them holding literally all of their belts that they've won in tag teams. So they had the WWF, they had the WCW, they had ECW, they had TNA, and they had IWGP. Was it? Is that the one they won in Japan? Anyway, they had all those, and they might have had one other there as well. I don't know. Because, see, a lot of the companies, when you win their tag team championships, when you win a championship, I should say, not just the tag team championships, they'll give you a replica of the belt to take home and add to your collection kind of thing. I don't know if they do it if you win the title like 3 or 4 times during your career. I don't know if they give you 3 or 4 different versions of it, or just say, well, you've already got the one replica, you don't need a new one. Well, actually, my dog was chewing on that one, and no, you don't need another one. Okay, then. So, yeah, I predict the Dudley Boys will probably win that one. I like the idea, the Dudley Boys in New York winning the tag team titles and saying, LOL, out of here, suckers. We got the titles. These are ugly, by the way. Oh, my God. I hope one of them turns to the camera and says, these are goddamn ugly-looking belts. They're pennies on a leather strap. It's like, oh, cut their mics. They don't have mics. Okay, cut the camera feed around them. That's the hard camera. Okay, never mind. They'll stop talking eventually. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. And next match, according to Wikipedia anyway, Kevin Owens will be defending his Intercontinental Championship against Chris Jericho. And as much as I like Chris Jericho, he hasn't and he certainly has been Intercontinental Champion a number of times. He's a record holder, I think, in WWE. Well, yeah, it's only been in WWE, so. Because Kevin Owens, has he defended his title yet? I think he's defended it once or twice. In a rematch, of course, against Ryback, but, I think this is his first non-Ryback-centric defense. So, I don't see Kevin Owens losing it just yet. You never know. I don't see it, though. I predict Kevin Owens will defend at least this time around. And who knows what this is going to do to Chris Jericho. Whereas at Night of Champions, Chris Jericho was the one who actually submitted in the 6-man tag match. So who knows? If he loses 2 pay-per-view matches in a row, maybe that will do something like... they'll do something to him. It's like, oh, I'm going to go crazy now or something. Or I'm going to become the ultimate heel like I was back when I was the world champion. And I walked to the ring wearing the world championship and it looked like I didn't have any trunks on. Don't tell anyone. I'm sure nobody whatsoever pointed that out to him. It's like, yeah, when you walked to the ring, it looked like you had no trunks on. Oh, I know. Oh, okay then. Yeah. People were wondering if they could see my Canadian bacon. You were listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. Hashtag adorbs. So we got 2 matches left. We got John Cena defending the United States Championship against Seth Rollins in a steel cage match. Interesting. I can see John Cena defending. I mean, well, this is assuming it's not a pinfall or submission kind of cage match. Assuming it's an escape the cage kind of cage match. There's really you can only either win or lose. There's no, he lost but he retains the title kind of thing. So, I don't know. Well, John Cena's not the kind of type to, escape the cage though, right? It's like, well, I'll beat the living daylights out of Seth Rollins and then I'll just walk out of the cage. He's not really that kind of a person, I guess. Not that kind of wrestler. But we'll see. I think I imagine John Cena will end up winning. It'll probably be one of those, one of them's crawling towards the door and the other one's climbing the cage. I'm guessing it'll probably be John Cena climbing the cage, more than likely, because it's usually the Dudley Do-Right of the match who's climbing the cage, and it's the Snidely Whiplash who's crawling towards the door. So, anywho, I see John Cena winning that one. Whether or not he will, whether or not it's best for business, as the internet fans seem to like to think they know, because they've run any wrestling promotion ever. Yes, it does matter. Have you stepped inside of a wrestling ring? Yes, it matters. Because I'm asking, so yes, it matters. And I have stepped inside of a wrestling ring. I've performed in a wrestling ring, and you haven't. So therefore, your opinion doesn't really matter in the long run. Feel free to have an opinion, but it's just not going to be necessarily considered important by anybody who is intelligent. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. And finally, not that I think this is going to be the main event, but this is just the last one I'm reading off. Dolph Ziggler will be taking on Rusev in our feud is going to be over soon match. Because apparently WWE doesn't sound like WWE's all that impressed with the reactions they're getting, and the main reaction they were getting was for Lana, and Lana's injured. So unless she comes back with a cast, well, you never know. She may be there at Madison Square Garden. She may be there in a cast, or she may be there saying, "Ha, sucker, I wasn't injured at all," and then low blows Dolph Ziggler and goes back to Rusev, and hey, Well, either way, I see Rusev coming in on top of this one. I don't know how. Well, he's become less of an impressive character since they stopped catering to the fact that he was undefeated in so many things, and they started making up things so that they could say he's still undefeated at some aspect. But it's like he hasn't been pinned. He hasn't been pinned yet. Yeah, but he hasn't been, he hasn't submitted in a title match or, something like that. So he's still undefeated in that particular regard. Or, obviously he was the U.S. champion and he's obviously been defeated because he's no longer the U.S. champion. So, obviously he's no longer undefeated. That's the problem with having someone undefeated. Eventually someone has to beat them. And 75% of the internet wrestling fans will not like who you choose to defeat them. 21-1. You are listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. Bound for Glory will be this coming Sunday on pay-per-view from the Cabarrus Arena in Concord, North Carolina. So we got 7 matches here. Tigre Uno will be defending his X Division Championship against Andrew Everett, DJ Z, and Manic in an Ultimate X match. And, well, I haven't really been watching, so I don't know who Andrew Everett is. And I don't see Manic as being someone who's going to win the title. And DJ Z, as much as I like the character, is... Anyway, I don't see it being necessarily a title change match, but just a good match to start the show off with. So, I predict Tigre Uno's going to defend. Whether or not he does, I don't know. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. And the Wolves will be defending the Tag Team Championships against Brian Myers and Trevor Lee. Now, you know how I like naming tag teams. Of course, the Wolves are the Wolves, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. Brian Myers and Trevor Lee, I don't know who they are, so I called them friggin' who? Because I didn't know who they were. So obviously that means I think the Wolves are going to defend. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerbernology TV. Thanks, guys. Now there is ringing in my ears. So anyway, this is Fanboy Mark Jabroni. You're listening to Ring Rust. The Knockouts Championship will be on the line when Gail Kim defends against Awesome Kong. Now, while you'd think Awesome Kong would be not a formidable opponent for Gail Kim to defend her title against, and she is, but, you see, Gail Kim defeated Awesome Kong in the first place to win her first TNA Knockouts Championship. So, it's not inconceivable that Gail Kim will defend. That's the way I'm going to call it. It seems like a safe enough bet, I think. Well, yeah, Awesome Kong you'd think would be a safe enough bet, but I'm going to go with Gail Kim anyway. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerbernology TV. So, and next up we have a Bound for Glory Gauntlet match for a future TNA World Heavyweight Championship match, which is, in other words, a number one contendership match. Anyway, Abyss versus Aiden O'Shea versus Chris Melendez versus Eli Drake versus Jesse Goddards. Jesse Goddards. What a TNA World Heavyweight title match. Versus Mahabali Shira versus Mr. Anderson versus Robbie World Heavyweight title match. Versus Tyrus. Oh, I think I need to take a little bit of a break after the two of those being suggested they could be in the World Heavyweight title picture. Well, it's probably a safe bet to assume that Abyss will probably come out fairly well, if not on top of this match. I think it's, in my opinion anyway. I mean, it's a safe bet to say Abyss, but I would like to see Mr. Anderson. Anderson win the title. Or not, well, win this match. Not, well, yes, win the title. But win this match first. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerbernology TV. This is Fanboy Mark Jabroni. You are listening to Ring Rust. The last three matches to be talked about during TNA's Bound for Glory, which is from the Cabarrus or whatever arena in Concord, North Carolina. I'm just going to call it the Hansel Arena, because Bugs Bunny. Kurt Angle will be taking on Eric Young in a not apparently for anything much match, just sort of wrestling each other, I guess, which is not a bad thing. To see either Eric Young or Kurt Angle just wrestling, and seeing the two of them wrestle is kind of cool. So, I do, since I'm hearing rumblings that Kurt Angle is actually looking to retire, and wink wink not go back to WWE, well, we'll see. If he actually does, A, we'll see if he retires. B, we'll see if he retires from TNA and then goes to WWE. We'll see. But anyway, since he's looking to retire, and since he's a seasoned veteran, and since he's pretty good that way, as most veterans are these days, I do see Eric Young winning that match. Because it probably would mean that much more to Eric Young's career to actually win that match than for Kurt Angle's. And reasons. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Gerbernology TV. So Bobby Lashley will be defending his TNA King of the Mountain Championship against Bobby Lashley. Now, I had to look that up to see what was going on, and apparently on June 25th of this year, what has been laughingly referred to as the Ed Leslie Championship, because it started as the Legends Championship, and then it was was it the United States or TV Championship at some point? One or the other. And, well, now it's the King of the Mountain Championship, and guess what? You can only win in the King of the Mountain match, so they had to have King of the Mountain matches. For better or for worse, they need to have King of the Mountain matches. Not only do they have a really confusing match stipulation, they now have a title for the really confusing match stipulation. So, Radio Shrug. So, yeah, I'm betting $100 that Bobby's going to win that one. Oh, you want me to specify which Bobby? I see. Well, I'm only just now hearing of the match, of the title, let alone the match, so yeah, I think I'm probably just going to predict that Bobby Roode's going to defend that one. Just seems as likely to me as anything. You were listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. And finally, a three-way match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship as Ethan Carter III defends against Drew Galloway and Matt Hardy, with Jeff Hardy as special guest referee. Now, you'd think that would probably feature, well, for Matt Hardy, yeah. So, it might not. Jeff Hardy might actually call it right down the middle, and I don't know. He may be forced to say that, Ethan Carter III won. I don't know. I'd anticipate Ethan Carter defending the title, because he's one hell of a snidely whiplash, and he's quite a talented fella, and he's probably going to give these guys lots of trouble. You are listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. Radio Shrug, this is Fanboy Mark Jabroni. You are listening to Ring Rust. So rather than go right into the NXT TakeOver Respect preview, because I'm only going to get one match done, and then I got to do the three-way dance off, and then it's back to it. Might as well just do it in one block and cross my fingers I get it all done without having to triple up rather than just double up. Talk about three matches instead of talking about two and being able to play music with it. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of a break, report on something that's been going on in the wrestling world in the past week, and of course it's negative, because it wouldn't be news if it wasn't negative. Anyway, so out of Carbon County, a former professional wrestler with WWE was arrested last week for failing to appear in Carbon County court for a driving under the influence charge. According to court documents, Tamara Sitch, known as Sunny in WWE, received 3 DUIs between May and June of this year. She is currently out on bail. You know what? How she usually answers the door when the cops come knocking. You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. This is Fanboy Mark Jabroni, only slightly out of breath because I was running between rooms. But, don't tell anybody, because that's a secret between you and me. Whew. NXT TakeOver Respect, October 7th, on the WWE Network from Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. So, I guess I'm going to have to do it 3 matches at a time, which works out nicely, because these first 3 matches here all go together, because they're all part of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classics tournament. And I do like naming tag teams, so that's going to be half the fun for me. There's 2 matches for the semifinals, and then the winners of those 2 matches go on to face each other at the finals. So the 2 semifinals matches are Big in Japan, Finn Balor, and Samoa Joe. That's not officially their tag team name, but I kind of wish it was, because like I said, I do like naming tag teams. Versus the Mechanics, which unfortunately is their tag team name. But, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. And guess what? The guys I know who they are probably going to win. Well, that's what I'm predicting anyway. So I'm predicting Big in Japan will win that one. No, so the second semifinal match, Unwilling and Gable, which again is not their tag team name, but it's Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. Because, see, Jason Jordan is unwilling to say Willing, Ready, and Gable. So, versus Friendship, Baron Corbin and Rhino. Again, not their tag team name, but like a month ago they were feuding, and now they're a tag team. So, Radio Shrug. So I'm going to say that Unwilling and Gable, since they seem to like those guys, are going to come on top of that one. And I predict, actually, they're probably going to be the ones who are going to end up winning the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Tournament.
Like me on Facebook, tinyurl.com/ringrust. Follow me on Twitter @MarkJabroni. and subscribe to Jabronology TV. YouTube.com/fanboy Mark Jabroni.
And because I grossly overestimated or underestimated or whatever the word would be, how much time I'd have left, I got time for one more song. So I'm going to review these last three matches quickly. Asuka, I think is how you pronounce it, will be taking on Dana Brooke and probably winning because she's new to the company and she's a big name coming from Japan, and Dana Brooke is Dana Brooke. Nothing personal against Dana Brooke, but you're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. The main event is scheduled to be Bayley defending the Women's Championship against Sasha Banks in a 30-minute Iron Woman match, which I have listed as Iron Woman here on Wikipedia. I don't know if they're still calling it a Women's Iron Man match in NXT, but that's the... You're listening to Ring Rust Redux on Jabronology TV. And the match that I wanted to save for last because I wanted to play one of their theme songs. Apollo Crews will more than likely be dominating Tyler Breeze, but I wanted to play Tyler Breeze's song, so...
That's it for another show, kiddies. Check me out on Facebook, where you can keep track of all the news that's right on the mark, from around ringside to the latest concerts. See you at the shows. Later days.
This is 93.5 CHMR-FM.